Hi there, my name is Tom Nickson and I teach at the Courtauld. I specialise in medieval art and architecture, but today I want to provide you with an overview of what the Courtauld has to offer to prospective students. On our website and on our virtual and in-person open days, you'll find more information about our specific programmes, but what this video is intended to do is to really offer you a general sense of the Courtauld, its support and what it has to offer. So, why study at the Courtauld Institute? I think the thing that probably makes the Courtauld a really exciting place to work and study is the fact that we represent one of the world's largest concentrations of art historians, conservators and curators. That means that there's a real buzz about the place and a sense of shared interest amongst our students and staff. And between our different programs, from BA through our different MA courses, our graduate diploma program and our PhD, we have around 700 students and over 45 permanent faculty. And that provides the Courtauld with opportunities to really offer you specialised, in-depth teaching across a very wide range of subjects and periods and places. Our history departments at universities across the world are traditionally quite small and so are not able to offer that kind of range. But at the Courtauld, we really think it important to be able to provide you with that research depth and breadth as well. The other opportunity that you have at the Courtauld is of studying in London, a global city in every sense of the world, with really an unrivaled collection of galleries, museums and libraries. So the Courtauld has two campuses, one in North London near the British Library, one at Somerset House near the River Thames, and both those sites are close to some of those leading institutions. So at Vernon Square, we are within a 10-15 minute walk, for instance, of the British Library or the British Museum, and our Somerset House campus is also within a probably 20-25 minute walk of places such as the National Gallery in London, the British Museum, or indeed the Tate, and of course our own gallery, of which I'll say more later. So we take that kind of opportunity to see artworks in the flesh very seriously. A lot of our teaching takes place on site, and that teaching is underpinned by cutting edge research. That is to say that all of our teachers are themselves researchers actively engaged in thinking about art history, conservation and curating and publishing in that field. And that means, I think, that you have, as a student, access not just to kind of generally received ideas, but to new thoughts and thinking in these areas. And this is why we are ranked as one of the top 5 universities for the study of art history in the global survey offered by QS, as you can see from 2025. So we have an enormous range of programmes at the Courtauld, and these have expanded considerably in the last few years. So we have our BA in History of Art, that's a 3-year degree. We have our graduate diploma in the History of Art, that's a 1-year degree for those who already have a qualification from another university, and that's also offered as a 2-year part-time course. We have the MA in History of Art, that's a 9-month programme running from September to June each year. I have an MA in Curating, which, as the name suggests, focuses on aspects of curating. The MA in Art and Business, which is a collaboration with King's College London, KCL, one of our partners. I'll talk a bit more about them in a moment. But the MA in Art and Business is taught collaboratively between the Courtauld and KCL and offers students an opportunity to think about intersections of art and business, particularly in the world of auction houses and dealing and so on. We have the MA in Contemporary Art and Moving Image. That's another collaborative MA with the King's College London, and really thinking about film and other forms of moving images in the 20th and 21st centuries. And then we have a range of MAs in conservation. So the preventive conservation MA, which really focuses on heritage conservation, the MA in art history and conservation of Buddhist heritage, which brings together strands from art history and conservation, and then our long-standing programs in the conservation of easel paintings and the conservation of wall paintings. And finally, we have our more specialist PhD programs. And as I said, together, those programs bring together around 700 students, with the majority of our students in those different MA programs, and then around 100 students in our BA History of Art, and varying degrees of numbers for our other programs. So one of our great sources of pride at the Courtauld Institute is the fact that we also have our own gallery, the Courtauld Gallery. This is really a world-renowned collection based at our Somerset House site. It's most famous for its collection of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist works, but it actually has a very, very wide range of materials from the Middle Ages to the 20th century and beyond. In recent years, we've been collecting more contemporary art as well. We have significant holdings of, for example, Islamic metalwork. We have paintings, sculpture, decorative arts, a huge variety. And whenever possible, we like to teach in the gallery, and our students also have opportunities themselves to teach the public through our public programs courses. Alongside our permanent collection, we offer a rotating program of temporary exhibitions. At the moment, we have a really fabulous exhibition of these kind of delicious cakes. Wayne Thiebaud, American Still Life. If you don't know what I mean by cakes, do look us up. It's a fabulous exhibition. Do come along. And those change on a regular basis. Sometimes those exhibitions are focused on the Courtauld collection, but very often, as in the case of the Wayne Thiebaud, they are visiting exhibitions and bring in a very wide-ranging crowd. And then, besides the opportunities to have classes in the gallery, or indeed to learn to take the public around the gallery, students at the Courtauld also have special access to our different study rooms, the prints and drawing study room and the object study room, where there are opportunities, whether in classes or simply as one of our students, to look at some of our very large collection of drawings, watercolours, prints and other objects, those objects that are not normally on display but can be called up and accessed and studied in those studied rooms. That's a really wonderful opportunity, I think, to get close to these artworks in a very intimate kind of way. Beyond the Courtauld itself, our students benefit from being members of a kind of broader community. So in particular, the Courtauld has what is still a relatively new partnership with King's College London, our neighbours at Somerset House, with whom we are collaborating on a range of teaching and research opportunities. And one of the great advantages of this collaboration is that it really enhances the student experience. The Courtauld, although very large for a centre dedicated to art history, conservation and curating, is relatively small compared to most other universities. That is a kind of an intimacy that actually many of our students really treasure. But through this collaboration with King's College London, we can offer our students all the benefits of being in a larger university as well. So that means that all our students have access to King's facilities, including cafes, medical services, their chaplaincy, their library, clubs and societies, and their sports teams. So you have, I like to think, the benefits of both worlds, the kind of feel of a smaller institution such as the Courtauld, but access to all the facilities of a much larger university. And beyond King's College London, you are also a member of the University of London Confederation that's constituted by a series of independent universities and colleges, of which the Courtauld is one. But that confederation represents over 250,000 students. And again, that membership of the University of London gives you access to a number of resources, including the University of London Housing Service and the Senate House Library, a really important resource for a lot of our students. The Courtauld itself also, as you might expect, has a very important library of over 200,000 books and journals, and also a really significant collection of exhibition catalogues, one of the finest collections of exhibition catalogues around the world, and something that's used not just by our students, but for instance by specialists at auction houses or researchers from elsewhere. Besides the Courtauld Library, our students, as I mentioned, have access to the Senate House Library as well as other specialist libraries, and increasingly both at the Courtauld and in these other libraries there is a growing provision of electronic books and digital resources, so that this is not just a question of access to physical books and journals, but also to digital resources, to ebooks, and a lot of that at the Courtauld is provided via our virtual learning environment, which is the platform which as the students you will use regularly to find out what kind of materials they need to read in preparation for a seminar, etc., etc. As you would expect from an institution that really is dedicated to the visual, we also have a number of resources that give you access to digital images. So those include the Wit Library, which has over 2 million reproductions of works of art by 70,000 artists. That's been running since, well, even before the Courtauld was founded in the 1930s, and is currently being digitized. The Conway Library, which is a kind of companion library with over 1 million images, principally of architecture, but also of sculpture, wall painting, textiles, and more. That has been digitized and is available to anyone via our website, and we also have a number of other resources such as the Art and Architecture database, so that all our students can access really high quality images. And that's useful for your research, useful when you're writing essays or preparing presentations, but also we encourage all our students, as well as reading, to really spend time looking, whether it's at artworks on site in the flesh, so to speak, or really carefully looking at images of them. So beyond the teaching that you will receive as a student, we also offer at the Courtauld a range of support to really help our students as they progress through our different programs. So we have a very large body of on-site counsellors who can offer mental health support to students. We have study skills tutors who can help with writing and other forms of academic work. We have disability support, so students with a range of specific learning disabilities or other kinds of support that our students might need, we can provide that. You have your personal tutors. Each student is assigned a personal tutor when they register at the Courtauld. These are typically members of our academic staff who can guide you through the Courtauld academic system and provide advice, provide reference letters, and talk through your academic progress. We're very lucky to have 2 Royal Literary Fund fellows, these are writers, members of the Royal Literary Fund, who are available to our students, who will read your work and provide really tailored advice about how to write well. That's a real privilege we have, even as a small institution, to have these 2 Royal Literary Fund fellows. And then we also have the career service, about which I can say a little bit more. This career service is very important to our students and to the Courtauld. We are very aware of the priority that our students necessarily have to find feasible careers after they finish their studies, and our career services provide a kind of range of support and activities that can really help you to find the careers that you are most interested in. So they offer one-to-one careers appointments and practice interviews, a very wide range of online resources and help sheets. And then we also have the Courtauld Institute Careers Programme, which is a really exciting and dynamic programme of events, lectures, mixers, and other forms of activity that can help bring you into contact with, sometimes with our alumni, sometimes with professionals in different fields, who can really offer up-to-date advice about preparing for your career and how you can harness the skills acquired during the course of your degree at the Courtauld to help you get the career that really interests you. So we have a number of long-standing arrangements and events that run with different employers and industries, from auction houses through to marketing companies and so on. And we also have a very active alumni network, so that we can draw on Courtauld alumni to really help you to understand their own career paths and how you might want to develop yours. And our students go on to a very wide range of careers. It's, I think, relatively well known that the Courtauld alumni now occupy a number of major positions as directors of international museums, the British Museum, National Gallery in Washington, the V&A, and so forth. But we also have students who go very broadly into the arts industry, acting as curators, conservators, art dealers, auction house experts, or indeed the kind of much broader field of museums. But also a lot of our students go into fields that are not necessarily closely related to the field of art history, but that's something that we value very, very highly at the Courtauld. We want our graduates to be, as it were, ambassadors for art history, curating and conservation. So we have significant numbers of graduates who go on to become lawyers. Many go into the publishing profession in many ways. Some of our students go on to become teachers, work in banking and finance. A lot of them go into journalism, broadly conceived, into marketing communications, fashion buyers, civil servants, and so on. What we like to think is that we provide you with a set of transferable skills that would be suitable for almost any kind of profession, but particularly that your skills at working with the visual, which is so important in today's society, also gives you an edge over graduates of other programs. So I mentioned already our very expansive alumni network that spans over 83 countries across the world. The Courtauld, partly by dint of its position in London and partly because of its reputation, has a very international body of students, and that's something that we really value. And those students go on after they graduate from the Courtauld to fill careers in countries really across the world and to help shape, in many cases, the arts and creative sectors. And all our students, all our graduates benefit, they're automatically enrolled in our alumni programs. We have a range of events in the UK and around the world that you can join the moment you leave the Courtauld, professional networking opportunities. We have an online jobs board available for all our alumni. We have a monthly e-newsletter, and we also offer you career support for 2 years after graduation. We recognise that you're not necessarily going to fall into the job of your dreams the moment after graduation, and so that career support continues for 2 years after graduation. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or would like to find further information, you can find it on our website. You can find it at a range of social media channels. You can also email our different administrators. So we have the undergrad admissions email address you can see there, the postgraduate admissions email address, and also we have a dedicated staff member who works with international students, should you have any questions, for example, about visas or loans and so on. And you don't have to just take it from us, you can also speak to our current students. If you go onto the website, you can see them. There are opportunities to speak to our current students and get their impression of the Courtauld. I hope that's been useful, and I very much hope that we will see you around at the Courtauld in the near future. Thank you.